Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in this week to our very first installment of Planted in This Georgia Clay. I created the channel because I have a passion for gardening. It's something that I started when we first purchased the home. I saw everyone in the South has these beautiful hydrangeas and they were in front of their house, especially in a modern farmhouse, and that was something that I really wanted, and I was like, you know what, let me try it out. Our first home, I didn't have that didn't have that capability of doing, because the front of our front yard was all rocks, and then in the back as well, so it was like a low maintenance, low drought rock landscaping, so I really didn't have the chance to do anything. But I think when I first planted some tulips, I planted them, I forgot to water them, and so they died, and I never gave it another shot. Again, I ended up actually buying some fake flowers and planting them as if they were real flowers, and a lot of people thought they were real flowers, even though I think they knew they were fake flowers. They just wanted to be nice. So now, having our house here in the South, in Georgia in particular, we are in northern Georgia, so our zone is a 7A. So I've just been loving gardening. It's been something that's been a passion of mine. I also still love decorating our home, and we still have our channel, This Georgia Clay, which we will still post. If you guys are into home decor and anything modern farmhouse, please check out that channel. We have over 13,000 subscribers there. So this is just something that I wanted to create, so that way that channel doesn't become something that it wasn't originally meant to be. So here we are. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're gonna have our first official front garden tour. Okay, so if you come over here, this is our front garden bed, and I haven't thought of a name for it yet. I'm thinking of calling it maple, because we do have a Japanese maple here, and I really love that tree. That's like it started the inspiration of wanting to garden and stuff, because I wanted to make sure that that tree really survived and thrived. So I've really made a lot of changes within the front garden bed. So one of the plants that were already here beforehand, and I don't know what this is. I think it's some kind of boxwood, but I'm not quite sure, or holly. I don't know exactly what this is, but if you do know, in the comments, let me know. But it's still living. It's arrived, and it's gotten pretty big. I did do a little bit of pruning on it earlier. As far as the shape, it's kind of just sporadic. It kind of grows how it wants to, but as long as it's still living, it can stay. I did go ahead and change out another plant that was here when we first originally bought the house. I'm not quite sure what plant that was, but it was dead from the builder. But I did change this out with Endless Summer Blushing Bride. So for this one, it gets about 3 to 6 feet wide and 3 to 6 feet high. So I think it'll be a nice buffer plant here to create some kind of division once you're walking up into the house. So I think it'll just create a nice centerpiece here. So I have that. This plant here started off as a 3-gallon plant that I purchased from Pike's Nursery here in Georgia. I absolutely love Pike's. A lot of people give Pike's a bad rap and say they're extremely expensive, but I think sometimes you can get some good deals on them. And also, I like how a lot of their plants are well taken care of, and they're just more mature, and I'm very impatient, so I just rather buy a bigger plant than waiting for a smaller one to start to flourish. But this started off as a 3-gallon plant, and it's huge. So this is a single white knockout rose, and it's starting to branch out in a lot of areas. Like, it's got a lot of new growth here out towards the front as well. Because there's not really anything around it, it doesn't need to be trimmed down or pruned or anything. I just feel like it can fill in this space, because again, it's not competing with anything, and I gave it enough space to be able to get as large as it needs to or wants to be. So here is my two very first hydrangeas that I put in, and I'm so proud of them. They're Bobo hydrangeas. Because of this space being kind of small and tight, I wanted to make sure that I had, still, like I said, I wanted a hydrangea that I love and fell into love with. I just wanted to make sure that I picked a hydrangea that was appropriate for my space. So sometimes I see people that will put in a plant and it may not fit their space, and they'll just say, oh, I'll just prune it so it can fit my space. I don't think that it's the plant's fault that, you know, if you choose to put it in a space that doesn't have its full potential to live out its hopes and dreams. So I try to get plants that fit within my area, and the Bobos actually were ones that will do that. I was worried that they weren't going to come back, because we did have a strange frost in early April, but they seem to be just doing just fine, and I can't wait to see them bloom come June, July. So back here, I used to have azaleas that my builder put in, but the front of my house typically will be in complete sun all day, and it doesn't necessarily get into the shade until around 5 p.m. So I needed to go ahead and remove those plants because I felt like it really wasn't doing the front of my house any good, and also wasn't fair for the plant as well because it just wasn't able to bloom at all. I've been here for almost 2 years now. This is the second season for my maple garden. That's what we're going to call it, my maple garden bed. And it wasn't blooming. I never saw what type of azalea it was. Actually, I take that back. It had one single bloom, but it was towards the bottom of the ground where the rest of the plant was covering it. So I guess that bloom got some shade, and it was pink. So I know that it's a pink azalea. So anyways, I took them out. I put in here now. These are gardenias, and I'm hoping that they will bloom and give me some good foliage here. And these are jubilation gardenias. So I just planted another rose yesterday, and this is a knockout rose. I got it from Home Depot. It was $10 for a 1 gallon plant. I normally don't purchase a smaller plant. Like I said, I like things that are a little bit more substantial. Just like this one is a double knockout rose as well. And this one was, I believe, a 2 gallon plant that I purchased, and I got that one from Lowe's. Here's another plant that I purchased from Pike's Nursery. It is a popcorn drift rose, and I kept the tags on it as well. So it is a popcorn drift rose. It is not a common drift rose. Usually you'll see drift roses in the coral, the pinks, the reds, but this one, it was really unique and different. They should have called it sherbet because it comes in red, and at first I thought the tag was mislabeled. And when they were starting to bloom, I'm like, I told my neighbor, I said, this is a red rose. It's not a white rose. That it said that it was supposed to be yellow to white cream. And as you can see, it's already starting to turn. So here is a yellow rose here, and then it'll change over to this white creamy rose. But this is a plant that I planted in honor of my husband's grandmother, and her favorite rose was a yellow rose. So I thought that this would be beautiful because I like white roses too, and she loved yellow roses, so it's a good combination of the both of us. So I thought that was very special. Drift roses stay normally lower to the ground, so this one should spread in nicely within this area. So moving over here, this is a sunshine ligustrum. There was a holly that was here, but I believe that it got diseased. It had like this black residue all over it, and it started to thin out. Like, it was full when we first bought the house, but then it started to become very sparse, and so I decided to replace it. So here is a sunshine ligustrum. It's a lot bigger than what it was when I first purchased it. I'll include a picture, and I believe that was a quart size that I put in. So yeah, and then this here is an evergreen. Not quite sure what type of evergreen or arborvitae it is. There wasn't any tags or anything when we first moved in. And then this is an arborvitae as well. I heard that they get about 5 to 6 feet wide and tall. If they get too big, then I will go ahead and just trim them back, but I don't see me wanting them personally to get outrageous and take over the flower bed. But I wanted to take them out. Matt likes them. They are some type of cypress. I'll put the name of it on the screen, but they're starting to be all right. They get more yellow the more sun that they're in, and if they were in more shade, then they would be more green. Moving over here, my petunias. This is by Proven Winners, and it is Sweet Sangria Super Mini Vista petunias, and I feed them faithfully every week with just some Miracle-Gro plant food, and it is liquid. So I feed them, and then also the petunias here in my basket as well. These ones in the baskets are from Lowe's. They are just a combo petunia. They were purple and white. I normally love white flowers, and this was different for me to do the purple, but I'm absolutely obsessed with it because I just feel like it gives some contrast against the house rather than just doing white on top of white. And one last plant that I wanted to show that is new within my maple garden bed is my plant here, which is called Chardonnay Pearls by Proven Winners. And this was a 3 gallon plant as well. And then with this one, it will get 1.5 to 3 feet tall and wide. So again, putting it in a good space so I can allow each plant within my area to live out its full potential and just be beautiful staple points within the flower bed. So yeah, so this is my first start. Next week we'll head out to the backyard because I do have some other plants that I have planted on the backside of my home. I'm still again thinking of what I'm building out that flower bed, so I'm thinking of what I want it to look like, what I want in it, and how large I want it to be, because we are dealing with some issues in the back with the grass because there's a lot of shade in the back of our house. I know today is a gloomy day, but normally this is full sun and the back of the house is more shaded, so we'll go from there. So again, thank you guys so much for tuning in this week to, again, the very first installment of Planted in this Georgia Clay. Please let me know in the comments what you guys think, what you guys thought about my flower bed, any plants that you guys love and would recommend that I plant. I'm always open to suggestions, and I hope that we can create lots of fun here over in this channel. But again, I'm still going to be decorating and doing things within our home, and we love DIY, so that will never change. So thank you guys so much. Please make sure that you like, subscribe, share it with a friend, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye guys.